Hello and welcome back to NJCDC's The Loft. Today, we welcome back the Neighborhood Help Center. Can we go around and introduce ourselves, please?
For sure. Yeah, my name's Christopher Valencia.
And I'm Christina Tone, the Assistant Director for the Neighborhood Health Center.
And my name is Pierre.
Pierre, all right. I am welcoming you. I know you're new to here at the table, your first time sitting here, so thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us you're a student, right?
Yes. So I am currently at PCCC, and I am studying computer science.
No, and also Pierre volunteered for us for a long time. When was it the first time you joined our programs?
So if I'm not wrong, it was last year. I remember I was a senior at the time, and I remember how to get out of school, go to work, get out. But it was a fun experience, getting to know new people and then making new friends, and also trying to make the city a better place for the people who are living in there. So yeah, it was actually a very fun activity to do.
Very
awesome.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
And Chris, how long have you been with us?
I got to take this way back. I've been here since I was probably 15 years old.
Wow, yeah.
How old are you
Younger
now?
than that. I'm 25 now, so it's been a decade.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. It's been a decade.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, your tenure here has been as long or longer than my own, So you're one of the
vets.
One of the vets, NJCDC vets over here.
Yeah.
But okay, so the reason why I have you, soon we're going to talk about the street team program. But before we do, just want to ask Christina what's going on with NHC, what new events are happening.
Yes.
Can you fill us in?
Yes, absolutely. So we are actually getting ready to our final presentation for the mini grants. And our last episode, we talked about, that we were having activities and thanks to an initiative with the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation. They provided $100,000 for us to distribute for 5 years to 10 individuals. It was $500 to $1,000 mini grants. And we are in our final, event tomorrow.
Nice.
So, yes. So
tomorrow being
Saturday, April 26th.
Yes, Saturday, April 26th.
And then we're starting our new the second round of the initiative. Actually, we already posted and it's already online. The the details and how to apply it and the information. We have 2 workshops next week. Well, actually, not next week. The week after, 6 and 7. One in English and another one in Spanish, to show how to apply it, because a lot of people, we have so much talent in the community, but sometimes they don't know how to access, the funding or the information. And this is just for us to also teach them, how to manage, a program, how to apply for grants, how to show their talent, right? And engage the community. So we are very excited. And so that's what we're going to be working on next week, and try to get all of our applications, receive the applications, read the applications, and see, and prepare for, to connect with those families and see what we can do. But it's going to be exciting. We had over 100 activities in the last couple months with the mini grants. And so we provide the venues, we create, the flyers, we, do the outreach for them and help them do their outreach for them. So we're happy. Very happy
Awesome.
that this first time was a success. So now we're going for the second, and we're going to do that every 6 months. So that's
amazing.
That's
That's
amazing.
great.
That's good.
Yeah, I know the mini grant workshops have been kind of like really successful, and I know a lot of people are very excited about it. Like I'm here at the youth center all the time, and I see the mini grants happen. I know they have like the Stitch and Share with MJ, and they always seem like having their great time. Sammy, I know he always showing me his creations, so that's great. That's awesome. I'm glad it's continuing. So is there anything else you wanted to talk about, NEC?
Oh, yes. So we're launching the applications for the Patterson Youth Council.
Oh, wow.
So a group of 30, high school students that we that are participating in a leadership program. and it's a 1 year program, and kids from all over Patterson, different schools, they apply when they're like in 9, 10, 11 graders. You can be as young as a 9th grader or a senior, but I would encourage you, the earlier you apply, the better, because you have a chance to participate, show your talents, and we help you, empower you, and we take you to different trips. But we actually just came back yesterday from a 2-day trip to Ivy Leagues. We went to Harvard, MIT, Brown University, and it was awesome. The experience was great. The kids went, they were excited because they're going to a trip, but they don't know what they're gonna find.
Yeah,
So
for
when
sure.
so just to see how they come back and have a different look at things, and their college applications or their FAFSA, that they have to start early, that they we don't want them to miss opportunities. MIT has a great program for freshmen and juniors and sophomores. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. So it's a great program, and I invite everyone in the community to to apply.
Yeah, most definitely. Me and Chris were Patterson Youth Council.
And actually, I think Pierre too.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
Patterson
He
Youth
was
Council.
Patterson.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just a bunch of Patterson Youth Council students here. And I know that particular trip to like the college tour, the Ivy League tour, it definitely opened up a lot of my peers' like eyes to like what's possible for them. You know what I mean? Because if you're stuck in this bubble that's just in Patterson, you never go out. You never like know like, okay, maybe I can go out to this school. Maybe I can go to these prestigious universities and like get a really good education. So I think Patterson Youth Councils, and there's more like that. Like there's like the Washington D.C. trip. That's super like fruitful. That's one of the biggest ones as well.
I
But
think there was also the science trip. We took a bus to New York and did
To the museum.
the museum trip,
Yeah.
and that was also a really good experience.
yeah, and like obviously like one of the main draws of Paris Youth Council, or goals of PYC is to kind of enrich the experiences of these students. Like I definitely came out of my shell. Like I definitely learned a lot through that program, and I'm definitely the person who I am today because of that program. So that's great. I didn't know they were opening it up recently. So definitely go and apply.
Yeah, the deadline is May 16th.
Okay.
So yeah, I encourage everyone to apply. And I remember going to, actually that's how I joined NJCDC, because
yeah?
of a PYC. Yes, I remember Chris went to tech, and he was doing a lot of extracurricular activities, but in the school, after school, he was joining different clubs, and he was very active in school. But I learned through NJCDC that there were opportunities to do volunteering outside the school, and how important that was. I went to an MLK event, and there were students there that received full rides to amazing universities because of how much they participated. So I was like, as a parent, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like, how do no one knows about this, right? And this was like 10 years ago. And that's how I, kind of convinced Christopher to join. And in the beginning, it was difficult, because he's already busy. Your guy's already doing a lot of things, the sports and school, right? And you don't want to add another, more homework or more activities to your job, to your day. But I think, Chris, it changed your mind, right?
Yeah, that was a very helpful thing to see, because when you're focused on all these other things and you wanted to be a part of a club, or you wanted to be a part of PYC, you got to meet, like you said, the people who were in a bubble, and they got out of the bubble, and you're not doing that bubble thing alone.
Yeah.
Instead of going on your own and trying that thing out by yourself, and you see different things, and you have a better perspective when you're with other people than just doing it by yourself.
You have like your peers with you to like kind of, you're all going through it together.
Exactly. The adversity brings teamwork.
Most
like
definitely.
everybody coming together and doing things like that.
100%. Yeah, I love the program. I love seeing people thrive in that. So
yes, and you too are peer, right? You went through 1 year program with PYC.
Yes.
Trips.
Yes. So one trip that I remember was when we went to Washington. And it was very amazing. It was fun. We had money. We were able to work around of the city of Washington. I remember we went to was it a hotel? I don't remember.
Yes, yeah, we pay for
Yeah.
hotels.
Exactly.
We
So
take them to museums. We give them money to
Yeah.
eat.
yeah, so I had a friend. I think it was Leo. So me and Leo, we shared the same room, right? And then we spent the night. Then we woke up in the morning. We had breakfast. So it was very amazing. The trip was fun, and I really loved it. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
just a lot. I heard a lot
It
of
sounds
things
like a
from
lot
the
of fun.
trip, and
Yeah.
one of the girls yesterday was like, "I feel spoiled. You know, I have a hotel.
Is that what you
I
heard?
have a bus.
Getting
you know.
pampered over here.
Yes,
You know what I
yes, I
mean?
get money. I get
Mhm.
to, like travel. So it
Yeah.
was really, really good. I love being volunteering for the program, and I love how this trip actually, and the program, the whole program, I've changed, lives. So I'm very excited.
Definitely. Yeah, and I'm
Mhm.
glad it did because now we have Christina here at NHC. You know
Talk
what I mean?
exactly to talk about all of her experience.
Yo, there you go. That's where it kind of started.
Yes,
So,
we live the mission of the organization, all
Most
of us,
definitely.
and this is the proof of it, right?
Exactly,
They
yeah.
started. You guys started as volunteers. I remember you guys when were in like 10th grade.
Mhm.
I started initiated different activities and programs,
Mhm.
tutoring,
Yeah.
and then participating in the PYC and other programs as well as in your schools, and then working for us, right? PYC, street team,
Mhm.
youth build, and other opportunities that we had. So you receive not only the experience, but also stipends for participation,
Mhm.
volunteer hours, and then you grow the organization. And look at you now.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Wow,
now
right?
now I'm here.
Now you're
There you go.
directing this podcast.
Yes,
So
yeah.
actually, this is how everything can evolve, and like they said, the sky's the limit. So take the opportunity and do your best, and find your passion, and maybe you never know, you'll find a passion in what you do just by participating.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Speaking of street team, now let's move on to kind of this program. This is a program that it takes place like I think every year. You guys do this. I was a part of some street team classes, but for those who don't know what the program is, maybe Chris, maybe if you want to take this question, it kind of explain what street team is.
For sure. So yeah, so street team is a seasonal job here in Patterson where we take 5 young residents of Patterson to clean up. Young residents, I'm talking you can't be older than 18 to 20 years old.
Okay.
But like we clean up Patterson's litter and debris that's all over the Great Falls Promise neighborhood.
Okay.
So we have everything from where Spruce Street is and the south side of Spruce Street all the way to Union Avenue. So
Yeah.
the different wards of Patterson are looked at in this kind of area, and we just take up our task. Our main task is to just clean up the litter that people leave on the streets. To clean up, it's a revitalization project.
Okay.
So we have this over the course of 12 weeks, and over those 12 weeks, which is 4 months, all the way up to May 31st, we clean up Patterson's streets, and sometimes we clean up and we collect around like how many bags per, like probably 10 to 12 bags every single time we go out every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we clean up in terms of pounds and kilograms. That's
That's
a lot of weight.
Yeah, 100%.
we clean up a lot of things off the streets, stuff that people don't really, we try to preserve green spaces. We try to preserve parks. We try to preserve urban centers that people just pass by every day and they don't even notice that without cleaning it up, Patterson can be much cleaner.
Yeah.
So, and we do that with the help of NJCDC, and we do that with the help of all our members like Pierre, Leo, Sammy, and Maho, MJ, and Nicole. So we, with them, we work together to do that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
Mhm.
As far as this next question, I'll leave it open-ended to everyone here. So what are like some of the biggest challenges you guys face when cleaning up the neighborhood?
What do you think, Pierre? I feel like for me, you said the hardest part.
Yeah, what's like the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge has to be making sure that bags get picked up after they get cleaned up. That's not a challenge for us, like, because we leave them where they have to be. But sometimes, even with a team of 5, like trying to get people to make sure that their front lawns, the houses, like the residents of the houses have to look over their litter,
Mhm.
they don't do it, so we have to move the bags for them. So that's a part that I think is a bit difficult. What do you think, Pierre? I feel like just based on what you've seen, what would you say is
So
also?
I would say the windy day, when it's very windy, it can be very difficult. You know, you have the bag and the wind is carrying the the bag away.
Oh,
So
that's a true statement.
that's
Yeah.
kind of a bit of a challenge. And I will also say when it's hot, it can be
Yeah.
very
So
Yeah, we're very,
Yeah.
very.
it can be very
very
difficult. But at the end of the day, you have friends, we talk, we work, and it's very fun. So I would say the challenges are not that difficult since we are all together and we're working as a team.
Yeah,
So
and it sounds like the main challenge that Chris brought up is kind of left outside of your own control because it's more so up to the residents to keep their space clean. Like, do you see like after you guys have done, like cleaning up a particular street, you come back maybe the next day or like a week after, and it's just like kind of like reverted back? Like, has that been like, is that kind of like the norm?
Let's take Spruce Street, right?
Okay.
Spruce Street, we cleaned this street up. But then what happens is right after we clean it up, we're not sure what it is, whether the wind is bringing new litter to this area or whether we didn't do what we were supposed to do, but there's new litter probably within the month that comes up. So, it kind of wakes us up to like what kind of problems are residents having where they feel the need to throw garbage outside of their areas.
I will give you guys the credit here because I was also part of street team back in the day, and I think it's like brand new because usually we've also experienced that where we would clean up a street and we would come back like a week later and it would be like messed up, and we know like because I don't know if it's a practice that you guys do now, but I know we used to take photos of the streets we cleaned,
Yeah.
so you can see clearly, like, okay, we did a pretty good job, with one particular street, and then it's like, it's like basically erased the next day, right? It's kind of like the never ending battle, but I think it's definitely something that is definitely still like very important. I think that there's like a very big issue like in Patterson that needs to be fixed, and I know this is kind of like a step forward towards solving that problem, right?
Yeah. And let me just add, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of frustrating sometimes, and you go clean and then the next day or the next week or in 2 weeks is like worse than when you left it. So we have to do a lot of education for the community, for the residents, for the homeowners, for the tenants, that if we all do a little bit, it'll show. And for them, it wasn't easy. I mean, this past couple of weeks, they've been working under, like close to the Great Falls, like under the bridge.
Needed areas.
Yes, and homeless, a lot of them that I mean, the way that all the things that they saw and they, it was just
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm sorry to interrupt as well, but one thing too to kind of bring up that was recent. So recently we had Earth Day on the 22nd.
Yes.
So at that festival for downtown Patterson that they led with the city of Patterson, I had the chance to meet with Edward Cozy. He's the chief innovation officer of Patterson. And one thing that he said that stuck to me that after he spoke to my team and street team was that he said that this word, he said, culture eats tradition for breakfast. So I didn't know what that meant at first, but after like really sitting down and like thinking about it, what he really meant to say was people can put bags and people can put trash cans all around they want, but if the people themselves don't take the initiative to like stop the amount of residue litter that they leave in their areas and make sure it doesn't come back, then culture plays a role in the whole aspect of like who's living there, are the residents taking care of their own spaces, who's doing this, who's doing what. So.
And one of the questions I was going to ask next is like kind of about like the impact that that you guys are having like in the neighborhood, about like like the sense of like community that this kind of thing builds. Like, do you guys interact like with residents often?
They interact with us. So a lot of times we do before and after pictures. So just like I think you stated before, like you did with Street Team, taking a before pic of like how the street looked like before we started. And this happens a lot with either streets or parks. We have people come up to us and say, right here, we have people come up to us and say, what are you guys representing? Or whose organization are you part of? How can I get involved? Or What
What is it about?
you can finish that. You can finish that statement. What do you think?
So a lot of people, like you mentioned, come up to us, and as they see us clean the street, they be like, oh, this is a good job, keep up, guys. And sometimes I remember last year there was that one person that came up to us and bought us drink and water because they were happy
They
for
were
us
happy.
helping cleaning the street and all that. And it felt very great, to from some people recognizing that you guys are actually doing something to clean up the street and actually making Patterson better. So I really appreciate that person for doing that.
Yo, and
what
you
he
know
did.
what though? When you interact with people like that, and now when they are in front of their houses and they see like trash or something, they're gonna be thinking about you guys doing
Yeah.
your thing and like, oh, they just cleaned up. That's a shame. Let me just clean this up so
Yeah.
they don't have to,
Yeah.
come back
So
and like do that. You know what I
They're
mean?
raising awareness.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's a great statement. Raising
Yeah.
awareness for what we do.
Yeah, so I think that kind of builds on kind of what you were saying about building that culture. Little by little, it doesn't happen overnight.
We also added another tool to the work that they do. Now we have a Google form, and they take pictures, but they also write what they find.
Mhm.
So so we kind of have data on the garbage is garbage, we say, right?
Yeah.
But where are we finding certain things, right? For example, like if you're close to the Market Street, right? So there's a lot of restaurants. What is it that are just there, right? The bottles and plates and napkins and things that pertain to the restaurants, right?
Yeah.
So, and schools, what do you find in the schools, right? So we're kind of like, at the end of this program, we're going to try to see and study and analyze certain, areas to see if we can go back to the business owners, if we can go back to, Burger King or McDonald's or, any big company, organization, and, talk to them and see if we can help out reduce the amount of garbage in the area. We're also working with DPW. Yes, so they after the team put everything in a specific area, Chris connects with DPW supervisors, and they know, they're aware where we leave in the bags. So it's their job now to go there and pick it up. So it's sometimes we can see it, when things are getting picked up and how long does it take, because
Yeah.
I'm sure they do have a lot of work to do in the cities, but we also helping them, so it's on them to come and pick it up.
So are you collecting that, like, so how far does that go as far as collecting data on, like, do you like, okay, like we dropped this off at this time?
Well,
and-
we have
we have
reports.
timestamp
Yeah.
photos.
Yes.
okay.
So like take a picture before, take a picture after, but it has the included
When-
street with the time.
When they pick it up though, how does that work after they pick it up?
Well, they have the timestamped photo of when it was actually there, and
Okay.
then they go send the DPW main driver to go
Oh,
pick it
okay.
up.
So
at the
they
site.
themselves
They
take.
go and
Yes.
take
Okay.
it.
Yeah, they
I understand now.
Chris and them connect every week, and then we also he also does reports. So he reports what the workload was during the week and where he left the garbage, and then he sends the report down to DPW and our directors.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Perfect.
this
Perfect.
is
Sorry
that.
to
It's
interrupt too, though. We also have like there are certain streets, and I'm not gonna name the streets just for sake of
yeah.
Yeah.
security and everything.
Yeah.
But we have streets that we take on every cycle. That's important for us to know which ones are needed most. So based on the data that we get, we're required to do these 2 streets, 3 streets that are more needed, so that we send more people there the days that we have to go and actually clean up.
Yeah.
We also noticed that there's a huge difference with before and after pictures. So after we leave it finished, it's almost like a landscape design. You can actually finally see the greenery. You can actually finally see the plants and the flowers and the everything taken away from what's actually being dismissive of the area that's there. So it's a nice.
great.
It feels good. It feels good after you're done, because you don't have to receive awareness from the neighbors or the residents. It's just you look at it and you say, I had an environmental impact.
Yeah, and you could see it, like
Yeah.
like tangibly, you could see the like what you did to that particular street. But that's great.
It's a great program.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who would want to do like a similar program, like, because like I said, programs like this are building the culture, as you said. So if someone from the culture,
From the
from the culture would
Yeah.
want to do something similar, what advice would you give them?
If they wanted to bring something from the culture,
Like if somebody from the culture, somebody that sees the impact or wants to do something similar, start their own program, their own street team program, what advice would you give them?
bring initiative and ideas to something small. Start local. So yeah, we started with NJCDC and they had this program available, but some people can get their neighbors to work together, and like, because you live with other people in houses. Sometimes they have homeowners associations. Like those homeowners associations are the residents who are living there who say like, oh, I can finally work with my neighbor to fix the sidewalk, fix the street. But that's older people. With younger crowds, maybe Pierre, you might, what would you say? Because I only know like what older people might say about what would people who are younger maybe wanting to start residential cleaning things or new initiatives want to say about?
So I'll actually go in the same road that you went, because it's a neighborhood thing. That's how I say it. Because let's say the street that we are living is dirty, and me as a neighbor, and I talk to you, and I'm like, well, we need to start cleaning the street because it is actually horrible the way that it is. So I feel like if the people actually start as a neighborhood, they start, we need to do this, we need to do that, there might be a change in the streets.
Imagine if every neighbor or every block, right, gets together and do a cleanup. Just you start small, do the front of your property, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then also you don't need to be old or young. Anyone can start this, right? Schools, right? Maybe have the students go and clean up around the neighborhood, around your school or your classroom.
Right.
Start in your classroom, right? Start in your your neighborhood. So and also you can maybe create a club or a group and collect community service hours by doing that. Something will make it fun. Make it a block party or anything that you can imagine. The options are there for them. But yeah, definitely we can all do something. If each of us do something, we're going to create a huge impact in the environment and the community.
Most definitely. I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for coming on and being willing to talk to me today to talk about your programs, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.